Spoken label. I haven't thought about flying for a long time. I haven't dreamed of that moment when I was alone above the clouds for a long time. I haven't dreamed of waking up in a room surrounded in blue and green grass for more years than I could dream of remembering. I haven't walked back into the past or scratched on the doors of my origins, where it all came from, since I held up that cape for the last time.
Return to Kent Town 10th Year Anniversary Edition is a revised version of Andian's first poetry book. The book can be purchased from Amazon and it contains numerous additional material.
Spoken Label. Hi, it's Andian from Spoken Label. Thank you today for streaming or downloading another episode of Spoken Label. Spoken Label was originally set up on beginning of 2016 and as of speaking has currently nearly 300 sessions. The full archive is available on Spoken Label bandcamp.com. Although it is available for free for stream and download if you wish, I am always grateful for any sort of kind of donation to enable me to keep the running costs of this podcast going. And enjoy. Take care. Bye bye. Spoken Label. Hi guys, Andy and Spoken Label back in the house on Friday evening. It's boiling hot here today in the UK, which makes sense that we go to a cooler climate. And we're going over to a country I've never been before, actually. I'm looking forward to this. So I've got two friends of Spoken Label here I've not spoken to for ages that are over in Iceland. They're not Icelandic people. They're from a little bit further afield from that, but they're over there at the moment. So I'm going to let my two friends introduce themselves. So I met these people, we reckoned 3 years ago, didn't we? When you came here toured through Manchester. So I'll let you both introduce yourselves and we'll start from there.
All right. My name is Chelsea Tadeyeske. I'm a poet, bookmaker, performer from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Pre-COVID, definitely spent a lot of time traveling, touring, performing, work, but now just kind of starting to get those shoes back on in that sense. So just kind of spending a little more time reflecting and generating work. And sort of just repositioning myself in regards to process.
Brilliant. And we've got Edie here as well. So Edie, obviously we like to tell people a little bit about yourself as well.
Cool, yeah. So my name is Edie Roberts. I'm living in so-called Detroit, Michigan, in the United States of America. So I'm also a poet, performer, bookmaker, printmaker. We've been doing some photographing. I think I'm starting to use that phrase multi-disciplinary artist thing.
Such a swath, but yeah.
Yeah, but
oh, brilliant.
In a more real way, I think, just sort of
idiot savant.
I think it's just boring and lack of attention span. But we'll see how that goes. So and then also we'll end up touring when it's time and itching to do those sorts of things. Been singing in some bands again. I'm almost 40. I'm fuck it. Let's do this.
Are you nearly 40 now? God almighty.
Almost, yeah, I'm getting there.
You never would know it, right? Tell them they don't believe you.
Well, I'm gonna you both know how old I am, don't you now? No, I'm 50 next week.
Oh, you're doing fine.
Yeah, you're doing great.
Way to go.
Bothered? No, I'm not.
You're on top of the world. Look at your little background there.
I know. Everyone's wondering, obviously, with this. I've got a background thing of the Earth on there, so I thought it's more fun having that on than having a blank white wall at the back of me. So, now, obviously, then people haven't backtracked to the session we did 3 years ago. And you should, because it was a fantastic day out when the three of us met up in a cafe, didn't we? That was a cake cafe, and oh my God, I took Amanda in there about 2 weeks later, and she had 2 massive pieces of cake. I never went back here. After that. So, good times. Now, definitely, obviously, people don't know you. How did the pair of you first start traveling together? Then, be a better word. How did you first both meet?
We've known each other for a long time.
Oh yeah, better part of a decade now, or over a little.
Yeah, for sure.
You were living in Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I'm from, and I was also living there at the time. There was what we called, everybody uses this term, DIY space called the Laundry Chute. where we were putting on shows, hosting other artists, and sort of kind of inserting ourselves into that type of community. At least that's my introduction to it. I know you were doing touring prior with your music before that.
Yeah, I mean, just like through circles of like performing and doing stuff. We met in Milwaukee like 10, 11 years ago or something like that.
A long time back.
I think it was just, like drugs and cigarettes and like just like hanging out.
Talking about Wallace Stevens and Emperor of Ice Cream. I think that was one of our first. So I think it was it was proof that it would be a long relation of art making and poetry.
Yeah. I mean, since we worked on a bunch of like bookmaking projects, Chelsea runs a label called Pitymilk. We've been working on a lot of that sort of stuff together for a long time. We've done like a lot of different kinds of like collaborative things. Some are sound oriented or like using weird like overhead projectors or like, carrying too much shit around sometimes. There'll be some, we did like a shadow puppet show for like a Lydia Davis story, like just dumb stuff like over time, just fun things. But we're here working on some collaborative work too. We're at a place called Gamli Skoli, which is like on Hrisey Island in Iceland. I don't know if you want to jump right into that sort of stuff, but we're also like working on collaborative stuff here. Like,
I knew you would get there eventually with it, so.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, for 3 years, like I said. Obviously, then when we last, the people were first, obviously after we last spoke, you travelled around quite a few places, didn't you? And you've both been back to America. Obviously, suffered lockdown like we all have throughout this world. So, what's made you want to? Have you got some sort of residency in Iceland? Haven't you? I seem to recall. One of you has, at least.
Yeah. Our purpose for being here is to fulfill the residency and the collaborative project that we spent a lot of time talking about, and finally just wanted to actualize it. I think it's also just a means of getting the fuck out of America for a minute. At least it was for me. And trying or challenging ourselves to string together shows, because we have been to Iceland a number of times, but only really as tourists. So in other times we've attempted routes like this, Iceland is kind of just a vacation portion of what's going on, whereas mainland Europe was a little bit more touring and meeting folks and being sort of more intimate in those ways.
Touring, meaning like doing shows. We were doing shows.
Yeah, performing poetry. So this first half of this 2-month trip, the first month is going to be dedicated to working on material, working on projects, finalizing them. The second portion, stringing together shows and touring around.
Yeah, so we're at a residency space on Hrisey Island, which is in the north of Iceland. And we both were accepted. Like we were accepted as a collaborative project. We're working on a couple things here.
Tell us obviously what the art scene's like in Iceland then. So obviously to go over there, I know you said you've been over there as tourists. You must have had some knowledge of what it's like around there, the scene, if you call it that, the word.
It's mystical.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah,
I like that word. I like that word.
I mean, it's honestly the one thing. Well, not the one thing. There are many things that I wish, but a thing that I wish is that I could undo coming here for the first time, because I can't even describe the experience of seeing this type of landscape for the first time after having been in America for 20 some odd years. But each, it's breathtaking landscape, much cleaner, more vibrant colors. The people are a little bit hard, I can say. Maybe you can speak to that a little bit more. They're kind of austere and very sort of they're kind. I don't know.
I think that just deals with a lot of tourists,
Yeah,
so I think it's just
true.
like they're kind of like a small country with like a reasonably like limited kind of like language base, so it's like they really communicate with each other, and then like they can really kind of tell from outside. It's sort of, I mean, they have that kind of Scandinavian like exterior, you know what I mean, a little bit.
They're hard to crack.
But also I think part is just like I think Iceland's a very like quiet expansive place. So I think there's a lot of like time for kind of just like quiet, you know, like people just don't feel the like need to kind of chatter a lot, like which I think is different from us. You know, us, we're just like, you know, we're like effusive Americans,
bubbly.
you know, I mean, you know, you understand too, like some English folks are kind of like that too, like just people want to chat, you know?
We just like we like to fill the space with our noise.
Yeah, just kind of bubble out. And that sort of thing. So it does kind of take a minute to get used to that kind of like quiet, like mythic, like largeness of the place. There's a lot of, you know, just expanse, like just like, you know, and like long swaths of nothing, like no billboards, no bullshit, no trash. You know, just like,
wow,
it's pretty weird. Like sometimes.
And I don't really know it from the music, really. Like I said, 'cause I'm a massive fan of Bjork and stuff, and Sigur Rós and a few other acts from over there, and their music themselves is like, it's often it's a mood piece, each one in different ways. And I find it quite stark, and that's why I thought when you're over there, I'd be interested to know. Obviously, it won't be as vibrant as America is or England is. I could imagine, definitely, as you two said, I could well imagine it being a different sort of environment to live in, definitely for a couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the musical output is a really clear. Is that what you said? I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Like the way that kind of like Icelandic music fills a lot of space. Like it's like very textural, and there's like a kind of. I mean, that's kind of a reduction. I'm sure there's some shit that's just like booming, just straightforward. But you know, like Sigur Rós and like, you know, some of that, like, and like the way that Bjork will fill like a lot of lower layers, or like even like Mum. You know that band Mum? Like so
I've seen them live as well. They were really good as well. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. So there's something about like the textural like awareness here.
The art really kind of does embody sort of the spirit of the land here. I don't know how that came out of my mouth like that, but you know, it feels, you know, like, you know, if you had to play match game, you could probably tell, you know, what might have been inspired by this sort of scenery and this sort of landscape.
Yeah, and like feels kind of like almost like honest, like in a way where if somebody else tries to kind of produce that from New York or something, you could like feel that it's kind of like,
overhanded or heavy-handed and overwrought, kind of.
Or like impatient with itself, you know, in a certain sort of way, I guess.
It is very patient. Yeah, it gives it room to sort of organically unfold itself, kind of.
Yeah, and it's like the cleanest air in, you know, Europe, I think, maybe in the world. I don't know. Like it's like in the water, you know, they like
the water out really the tap,
clean,
dude. Like no filter necessary, dude. It is so weird.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
It's so strange.
So what work have you been doing then since you moved to since you went to Iceland, then the pair of you? Is there anything you could tell us about it or what you've been doing?
Yeah, you can start. I'll fill in.
We've been working on a handful of things, but we're mostly here working on, like together, we're working on a text that is aestheticizing an argument about like against like pair bonding and like coupling. So like it's like an anti-monogamy like sort of like text that's like political in the way that it's sort of looking at like what those sort of like those modalities do to disrupt kind of like community building and like making of that sort. It's the challenge is sort of like, you know, we can write about that all day long.
And we
like
can talk about it all day long.
Yeah. You know, where it's like,
we can argue about it all day long, but you know, it's like, you know, one of the selections, it's broken up into 10 different sections, which is trying to sort of encompass a facet of the argument. And one of the arguments is called All the Songs on the Radio. So just sort of this like sense of being inundated with these sorts of ideas. And the argument that we're trying to make, we don't see showing up in any of these spaces really. Like there aren't a lot of love songs that sort of engage with this type of relating, not a lot of storylines in books, movies, TV shows. So again, the project is kind of trying to aestheticize for a more poetic audience what these types of feelings are, and perhaps it'll help warm some folks up to some of the arguments that we have in our everyday life.
Well, yeah, and like more specifically, I guess is it like the feeling, whatever.
The feeling, like a capture,
like that, the kind of myopic, like romantic sort of like couple jealousy, like, you know, that's this kind of like you and me forever soulmate shit So it's like sort of trying to like deal with that, the fact that you're sort of inundated with those messages all the time. So like trying to find aestheticism that like creates space for like autonomy and freedom and like movement, like friendship as the center of like engaging in a way that it's like there's like care and respect, and like contingency doesn't work the same way, and like things like that. So and then like the challenge is to make that sort of like poetic, which is
and
like,
hey, it's been a challenge because a lot of that shit sounds cheesy.
Yeah.
It's really been a lot of like just throwing shit at a wall and just seeing what sounds okay.
Okay.
And designing it, yeah.
Out of interest, obviously, with this project, then, obviously, you said you had to get accepted to come into Iceland, obviously, to do the project. Mm-hmm. Has it changed much over your time then when you arrived in Iceland?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. When we originally, I think, submitted something for it, we had the idea that it would just be like singular print. So like an image that had like basically like propaganda. Like, sort of like using kind of like the landscape to create like kind of like, okay, take photographs of things that are like the expanse of possibility and then like overlay text over them. You know what I mean? So it's like basically a visual project. It changed, like we're still kind of doing that, but we've like started kind of doing that on our own, I guess, a little bit, like instead of doing it as a cooperative like project.
Yeah.
So we'll probably end up with a bunch of like, images that are like kind of propaganda, like that are like, like billboard-esque, like, iterations of like, like what if loving you wasn't about me, like stuff like that, like, like just these like conceptual frames and places to be, but it turned into something that was more like a book,
yeah,
like
an
artifact,
like a singular artifact that sort of tried to encapsulate more of a dynamic arguments.
Yeah.
But the thing with being someplace and not having to go to work and having your job be solely to work on something, it just, we're generating more material than I think we could ever imagine using, which is an interesting problem and or cool accident to have. So I think as we're going, we're still trying to figure out what pieces are going to work, what other offshoots might occur, and just, kind of swirling along with it without trying to force it into something very specific before it's over.
Yeah, I can see you coming up with that. So, and obviously, being in Iceland, obviously away from your usual habitat, you've probably found, haven't you, like the way you think, because of you've not got the distractions you'd probably have in America, would you? Or let's say where you lived in the past, and that's why you probably have the project's probably changed you over this process. So how much longer have you got to spend on this project then? Do you anticipate yet? Do you know how much longer you've got?
Just over a week. It was a month-long residency. So yeah, we landed here on the 1st, and we leave on the 1st of May.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have at least that part done, like something that's like in a print layout, We probably won't have it printed because there's no place to print in this little village we're in.
Yeah.
But we'll have it ready to be printed in some form or fashion, like at the time we leave here, I'm sure.
Brilliant. Do you actually think, I'm always interested in learning this. I've done a load of writing down all over England and bits and pieces, and even abroad a bit in Europe. But do you think like this is a sort of project where it's massively influenced what you're going to do next in your work then? So obviously you spent over there. It's been like life-changing for you, do you think?
I would like to continue. You mean like thematically? Or
yeah, yeah. Yeah, would you like to come back to Iceland again, possibly do more work in this sort of environment?
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, to like continue in this environment with this project specifically?
Yeah, I think we might do that differently.
Honestly, I would be interested in taking some of these modes and some of these arguments into more of like a cityscape where there are more individuals interacting, maybe, because it is kind of a super isolating experience to be on an island, an even smaller island on an island. So there's not really a lot of like people watching or sort of observing of how interactions play out. It's all kind of just like this huge reflective surface that you can like think into. But I would be interested in taking this somewhere where there's more life going on and more relating happening. So it could be a little more like inspiring in the moment rather than just like a quiet, reflective, meditative thinking about it.
Oh, cool. Cool. Good luck with it. Good luck to the pair of you, definitely. So now, when you're back in America, then what's happening next for the pair of you then to start wrapping up with?
I think we probably have different plans.
Yeah.
I'm sure
Well, first of all, we're actually going to see Sigur Rós because they are performing in Milwaukee, literally the day we return. And we did that kind of intentionally. But after that, I personally have the goal and the ambition to work on more touring, also hosting more touring artists and doing more events in my city, and kind of trying to cultivate more of a lively poetry scene in my city in any way that I can.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine like once we finish this, we'll probably want to perform it some and like move around, do some stuff. We're working with somebody named Kamal Kimball, who we're gonna finish a book with on pitymilk. So we'll probably do some things together.
Yeah, we were talking about doing some sort of smaller Midwestern tour and book launch for them.
Yeah. But I think otherwise, yeah, like I'd like to make some more music. I'm looking forward to getting back to Detroit. I want to buy a bus maybe and live in that fucker. I don't know. Like I don't know. But I'm sure we'll do a little bit of both of those sorts of things.
Dreaming, scheming.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Like I agree with you also, like trying to find spaces like where you can have intentional time but are a little busier, like, have a little more like queer, like sex energy. I don't know. Like this little town, like has a weird tension, but I'm not really sure. But so like
that's very subtle put.
Yeah. So if anything's going on in Manchester that
there's always unusual stuff going on in Manchester. Come back, right?
Yeah, I'd love to stay in the UK at some point in time for a little while.
Definitely. Okay, now we'll wrap up this part then. So I want you both obviously to do some pieces for us in the second half. Now, obviously, if people want to find out more about you both, where are the best going? And we'll start with you, Edie, in this case.
You can just check it out on, I'm on Instagram as Squabtastic, or you can go to www.edieroberts.wordpress.com.
Brilliant. And yourself, Chelsea?
Yeah, I just had to check to see how I did it on here. Okay, so the Instagram is pity, PITY_milk. And
I'm not asking.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was kind of I don't know if I thought about that through. So yeah, that's the personal page. And then also pitymilk press. So pitymilk, one word, _press is also an Instagram. And that's solely for the press that we run. That's probably the best way. And then Chelsea, Tadeyeske.wordpress.com for more of like a consolidated artist portfolio.
Brilliant. Great stuff, guys. Okay. We'll wrap up this part then. It's been great fun today. I've learned a bit about Iceland from the pair of you there, definitely. So good luck with it for the rest of your project there. So we shall see you all in a minute.
Hell yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Spoken, mate. Hi, guys. Yes, I'm still here with the lovely Chelsea and wonderful Edie. Now, during the break, Edie's nominated Chelsea to go first. So over to Chelsea first for a few pieces.
So yeah, we talked a little bit about the collaborative project that we're working on here, but in parallel with that, I've been working on writing a poem of day because April, I think this is international, it's National Poetry Month.
It is, yeah. I've been on that this year as normal as well, so.
Yeah, and I'm the type of person that doesn't get anything done unless there's like impetus to do so. So I've held myself to the challenge of writing a poem a day here. So I selected a few to read, and this is all tentatively for a collection that is called Island Weather. Heart Beast. I don't want to hear about the habits of dolphins in captivity. There's enough depressing shit to dissolve about. Once I saw a clear plastic cup full of dead wasps and photographed it at different angles. I miss when fucking was my aliveness, but now I'm so odd at being myself. Sometimes dolphins will sink to the bottom of the pool and remain there. This suggests they have speculations about a future that is more or less like living in a clear plastic cup. My first memory is of my baby body slipping into a bath that was drawn for me. I want to go swimming in many people. I look down at my body and wonder where I could slice to count the years. When someone dies, please don't turn anything they did into a fucking love song. I think I would like to lie on a bed of moss with you and like the things that you like. It reminds me of something blown apart coming back together. Aren't you glad that light reflects so we can remember we have faces? Sometimes at night, it can feel like the world went somewhere else, like some cruel joke. I want to say the saddest word over and over while I remember I'm always on a certain path to love.
Wonderful.
Love fractal. I wonder if anyone has ever cut my face out of a picture. Hate is so transformative because it can be done in private. I regret I'm the type of person that forgets to turn the faucet off when I walk to the fridge and doesn't know how many places this country is currently occupying or how many ecosystems have fully collapsed. Why does it feel so good to squelch in the bright red jelly of grief? I read that someone was struck by lightning a total of 12 times. It leaves a scar like a fern frond. Can you imagine ever being loved like that? I feel totally helpless to know the bareness of your back, my little flower head turning toward the sun.
Wow.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Wow.
Are we doing okay for time? I can't tell.
Yeah, we've got time, yeah. So
Cuticle. Is there a game you can play where you can still like see the world but aren't actually like in it? I used to judge the kids in school that bit their nails and ate them. Maybe I actually wanted my soul to be exposed like that. My life was forever changed when I learned how to wake up my clit out of boredom. I think I would like to dry out all my eggs on mossy ocean rocks while everyone I know watches and gives me flowers. You think the stars actually give a shit? The body is a heavy, worthless coat. Ha ha ha, ha ha ha. Oblige. Some of my most exhilarating moments are when I allow myself to vomit. One time I was really high and recited my entire drive-through order before I realized I was talking into a trash can. I think the way we choose to love each other is making us really, really sad. Whenever I tell my mom I'm stressed, she tries to give me Xanax or Ativan as if we both aren't addicts. I hope someone, someday, counts all the beauty marks on your arms and chest and back and neck. I smashed a spider once, minding its own business, watched each leg curl up inward, away from me. Okay. Sorry, I'm making an executive decision as I...
just try and perhaps do one more, Chelsea, to start wrapping up, I think, then. Then we'll let Edie do a couple of them.
Sure, okay. Last one is dumb documentary. I like that if I stand close enough to your face, I can breathe in the air you just recycled. An early erotic memory of mine is watching pee mixed with rainwater. I remember a distinct confusion when I realized my veins were not stains from something blue dripping. Do you ever run your fingers across public surfaces? Because that's as close as we'll get to holding each other's hands. Being a human can teach you things. Like bricks are heavy and death is about forgetting who you are.
Wow. Tremendous, absolutely tremendous, Chelsea.
Thank you.
It reminded me a lot when, and obviously you wouldn't necessarily see me and Amanda read, my wife, yet. And when we do like sets like you two are doing now, like it'd be like Amanda will sometimes go first, and I'm sat there thinking, "Fuck, I've got to follow that."
Oh.
Good luck, Edie.
I know, yeah, good luck. Yeah, I know it's kind of like that. So I'm just gonna do a few really quick that are from this bigger project that we're working on. This is called "What If Loving You Wasn't About Me," and they are collaborative. So we've been working on them together, and eventually it might have some kind of. Hold on a second. We might be doing some sort of two voice or trading on and off, but for now, for the sake of this, this is just, it's sort of in process. Cool. So this is from What If Loving You Wasn't About Me? This piece is called, There's a Strange Kind of Distance Between Our Want. In the dark, our lovers with their flashlights and cameras are intruders, are invading and demanding we come out and confess what we've done. There is a threat dressed in care. Love, like a door left open that slams shut to contain you. Love like a knife pressed to your neck for honesty. Love like a priest looms for the trespass. Love like a boss demands the contents of the day, the week, the years gone to spying on one another. Truth is a space of ease. Truth is a space of invitation without contingents, or it is a minefield, a trial, a script that will not burn no matter how many fires it starts and spreads. What your lovers are and are willing to give is a matter of the space made to share it. I want to get at what makes us freeze up when the periphery is lit with maybe. I want to get at that, and I want to tell you about it like we're rooting, not like trees, but like people with their arms in the air and howling. Secrets are sacred. Death to the penal state of loving one another, death to the penal state of loving one another. I want to talk about love as surveillance, about the expectation of submission and compromise, about what it takes to assure, about every day inured with domestic scheduling with shared locations and explanations, about control masquerading as care, as worry, as concern for safety. I want to talk about why we never talk to cops, about the people we love as our property, as utility, and is it ethical to respect peopled property of others? Is it ethical to own through contract? Does the contract implicate all of us? If all of our secrets die on a pew, our sacredness begins to rot. If all of our secrets die, then I already know you and I'm yawning. If all of our secrets die, then we are walking as if we are following an invisible straight line. Kill the cop inside of you. I'm gonna do just one more real quick from this project.
Rotate that spread, rotate that spread. So the spread is like not how it should be.
You know, it's wild.
It's wild time.
Okay.
So obviously, even you get a very vivid picture from your words, looking at the text of it is obviously completely different then, I'm guessing, is it?
Yeah, it's jumping around a little bit. Hopefully you'll see something.
Yeah, hopefully we can send you a copy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, please.
Okay, last one, real quick. We should all be crying right now because we want love like money. Like money, looks at you and puts its hooks in you like without me, you are nothing. Like money drives the world stupid for want, with want for hoarding it. Like money is a force that is made through the magic of our together willing it. Like money is scarce enough to destroy you, all the while doesn't exist. Love like, gotta keep on the grind to find it. Love like, gotta keep your eyes out for counterfeit. Love like, it takes work to know how to keep it. Love like, you wanna be envied for having it. Love like, maybe she's born with it. Love like, how the billboards make a currency of it. Love like, you want it whether you want it or not. Love like, your survival depends on it. Love like, the world moves on without you. Love like, a safeguard against the tragedies of it. Love like, I would trade my life for it. Love like, my body is my means to it. Cool. Thanks to Bondle.
Tremendous. No, really, really vivid that then. I love the repetition on that then, and it worked. You've moved it along really, really well there. So tremendous stuff, guys. Well, good luck to the pair of you for the rest of your time in Iceland. I look forward to hearing what your adventures are going to be next. But no doubt knowing you two. No doubt knowing you two, probably the North Pole next or South Pole.
I'm going for poles. I want to get to Finland. That's the next one.
That's a new obsession of yours, yes.
Definitely. So we'll keep in touch, Barry. I know you will anyway. And hopefully next time we'll see you, whenever that is, be in person.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time, Andy. I hope so.
It's always a pleasure having you two on it, isn't it? It was a great meet a couple of years with a great catch up today.
Hell yeah.
That's right. Take care, guys. Right, hang around YouTube. So I do need to speak to off microphone, of course. But this is Spoken Label. We'll wrap it up. It's been a pleasure, Edie and Chelsea. See you both soon.
Thanks, y'all.
Spoken Label.